So আমরা পড়বো first thing is তোমাদের unit 1 and unit 2 of zoology major. ঠিক আছে? Zoology বলতে what do you mean by zoology? What do you mean by zoology? Study of animals. Eating animals. So when you eat animals, chicken, mutton, when you eat them, is it zoology? Huh? Living, it was living once. So you are eating them now. It's on your plate now. Is it part of zoology? Huh? So when you are eating animals, is it zoology? Why is it not zoology? Very basic question. Huh? So how many animals in the museum are living? In that room you are seeing some animals all, and you have to write it in your examination. So it is not living. So is it zoology? When you are eating that animal, is it zoology? Why not? Please come. Why is it not zoology? Why is it zoology and why it's not zoology? জোরে বলো। It is zoology. When you are eating that animal, it is going through a process called ingestion, and then you are digesting that food. Cooking that animal is not zoology, but preparing that animal is also zoology. Anything concerned with animals is zoology. Anything concerned with animals is zoology, and it's a leaking pen over here. জামায় পড়েনি, এইটাই ভালো। So now what is an animal? Next question is, what is an animal? And what is a plant? What is the difference? Jore. There is no wrong answer. Please tell me. Huh? So they have excretion only. Major locomotion. First thing is locomotion. Plants don't have organs. Neat holo na. Huh? Plants don't have organ system. Neat holo na. Gol. Plants don't reproduce. Plants also have sexual reproduction. Animals also have sexual reproduction. So what is the difference between plants and animals? Huh? Muscular system. There are animals known as sponges, poriferans. জলের তলায় থাকে, sponges. They don't have muscular system. First thing is actually the main way you can say is locomotion. There are also sessile, but you cannot exactly distinguish between plants and animals. One of the most important criteria is plants synthesize their own food exclusively. They are autotrophic. They make their food, or there are exceptions. Exception is your Venus flytrap and insectivore plants. These plants basically grow in regions where you have low nutrients. The soil has got very low nutrients. And for them, therefore, for their sustenance, they need to take extra food. That is from flies, and they have got beautiful colors. The flies or insects come and sit, and gradually they close, and the insect gets trapped inside. And there is a sticky stuff, and the insect gets stuck over there. They are used for. Normally used for catching insects. I mean, your economical aspect is that they are sold, they are kept beautiful, they are kept in houses to catch insects. And of course, they also undergo photosynthesis. The animal, you have one thing was locomotion. Plants don't have locomotion, they don't move about. Although if you have read a book by John Wyndham, known as The Day of the Triffids, there are special species of plants, they invaded Earth and they could move about. And so what they did was they ate all the animals, humans and everything. So humans survived in one isolated island. So this was the Day of the Triffids. So these were the Triffids. So but that's a fictional story. So locomotion is one exclusive feature of animals. But there are lots of sessile animals which cannot move about, like sponges, cnidarians. There are lots of sessile organisms. So it can't be exclusively. They rely on plants and other organisms for food, and this type is known as holozoic. Other organisms, it can be even detritus. পচে যাচ্ছে যে জিনিস, जो चीज सड़ रहा है, they can also rely on them for food. They have got a holozoic type of nutrition. So these are autotrophs, and what are other things? Autotrophs है जरा আমরা খাই, they are heterotrophs. ঠিক আছে? Clear? But there is an exception. There is an animal which has got chlorophyll and they do photosynthesize to produce their food. Yet they have locomotion. They have locomotion. They move about with the help of an organelle known as flagella, and that is euglena. Euglena viridis. This is R. Then why is this not a plant? Why is this not a plant? Why is it an animal? Flagella, there is another plant or algae known as Chlamydomonas which has got flagella. George got it? They all have plant vacuoles and all. You cannot call them. So that is because when you keep them outside sunlight, that is, you don't give them any light, then they start their heterotrophic nutrition. খেতে শুরু করে, start depending upon other organic matters in the surroundings, which no plant will do. Now there is, in plants there is one group of where there is a debate whether you can keep them in plants, and that is the fungi. Very strange thing. No photosynthesis. There is a biochemical compound known as glycogen. It's a carbohydrate chain which is found in animals. It's also found in fungi. These are exceptions. And very things, they don't have cellulose. What they have chitin. Plants normally have starch instead of glycogen. Plants have starch, please. They have starch instead of glycogen. So there is nowadays they don't put them in the under plants. They have been given a special kingdom, separate kingdom. Huh? Chitin is not present in plants. It's present in animals. আরশোলার বাইরে কর্কর বা চিংড়ি মাছের বাইরে খোলাটা, it is present in fungi, chitin. Oh, cross না ঠিক আছে. So they have been separate kingdoms, and you know there are 5 kingdom classifications which you have to read. Whitaker, he gave this 5 kingdom classification. There is 2 kingdom classification by Carlos Linnaeus, and you have the 5 kingdom classification. Okay, so this is for the first half of the basic. এটা পুছে দি? Now there is one more thing which you have to understand. You have so many plants, you have so many animals, lots of plants and animals. Now how will you say that now you are among, let's see, among human beings, you have some people who are totally black, their skin color is black, some are like us colored, some are very fair. So are they different animals or they are the same animals? How do you know? Then you have something like with a tail, looks like a human, on top of trees. They are called monkeys. I don't know if some of you are them. Actually, I don't know whether you people are monkeys or not. সেটা তো আমি জানি না. Whether you are monkeys, I don't know. There are so many of you. So how will you study them? You cannot study them. That okay, they are same, the monkey and human. So I can have a monkey sitting in my class, and I will say, okay, that's also human. So I cannot segregate or I cannot differentiate. So I cannot teach a monkey zoology. I cannot teach a monkey zoology, but I can teach human beings zoology. So I have to keep them separate. So this is the science of. এটা হয়ে গেলে আমি So in order to study them properly, you need to classify. And you study classification. Not only classification, it is biological classification. you study biological classification. So, or some people like zoologists, you will call them as zoological classification. Since botanists and zoologists, they never go along well together. They are never friends. So botanists will call them as botanical classification. Zoologists will call them as zoological classification. They will give you a type of classification from Bentham and Hooker's classification. I will give you Whitaker's classification. So they never meet together. But anyway, let us concentrate on zoology. So it is the science of classifying animals. It is the science of classifying animals. That is known as zoological classification. That is, how do you classify? Basic is similar characters in one group and dissimilar characters in another group. Similar characters, you keep them in one group. Dissimilar characters, you keep them in another group. Okay. তার মানে all organisms which have got mammary glands, which have got hairs on their body, which have got pinna, যেটাতে কানমূলে দিতে হয়, কানমূলে দেয় বদমাইশি করলে. So all organisms which have got pinna, all organisms which have got diaphragm, all organisms whose red blood cells don't have a nucleus, or organisms which have got a improved cranium or a brain, more complex nervous system, they are kept under the group called mammals. They are mammals. And those who don't have them, all organisms who don't lay eggs, for example, fertilization internal, they are all mammals. So, on the basis of similar characters, all organisms which don't have them, they are in other groups. So, not only similar characters together, but this, if it has got a dissimilar character, you place them in another group. So you have an organism in between whose RBC has got a nucleus. So it can be a bird, it can be a reptile, it can be anything else. It can be a fish, it can be an amphibian. Those who don't have, they have got nucleus in the red blood cells. Humans or mammals, they don't have. That's one very important internal character. So they ask one internal exclusive mammalian character in examination, every year competitive examination. One is the presence of diaphragm, which separates your lungs, thoracic cavity with the abdominal cavity. A clear diaphragm muscular partition is present. And second one you can call is your RBCs and nuclei. Also there are other internal characters. These two are the most important. Other important characters you can, there are several of them. Your teeth is different. You have got a heterodont type of dentition, different types of teeth. But some people call teeth as not internal. हाँ करने से दिख जाता है. It's not internal. So I had an argument once with somebody who was taking my exam for all these colleges and all I was applying. So, and one of these persons asked that even teeth is not an internal character. So you हाँ करो देखो teeth दिखता है. Okay. I आपको मैं चाकू लेके घुसा दूंगा पेट में खून भी निकल जाएगा, इंटरनल कैरेक्टर आ जाएगा. So all these are, you are forcing a person. I do not get that job. If you reply like that, you never get a job. So okay. Now the science of studying this classification, science of studying classifying animals is known as taxonomy. Also the science of studying animals is known as systematic. Yes, so come. Is known as systematic. Nowadays we study systematics, not taxonomy. So let us talk about systematics, which is the branch of classification or the science of field of classification. What it does, it provides scientific names to organisms. It provides scientific name to organisms. Okay. It is that branch of science or classification that provides scientific, the first thing it does. What is the scientific name? I am a Homo sapiens. You use normally a binomial nomenclature. Homo sapiens. You must underline it, and this is known as the genus name. We will talk about it later. Then this is known as a species name. It is a small s and it must be underlined when you are writing. When you are typing, it's in italics. It's given in italics. So now we have classified them as the same group. Now a person in India will call it Manav, Manush. In Bengali we call Manush. Somebody in English it will call it as a human being. In the different language it will be called as a different thing. How do people communicate that we are talking about that same organism? The same group which we have classified, in one, by giving a unique name. Now that name has to be in a language called Latin. They have made. Why? Because nobody speaks Latin nowadays. So nobody can say that, I give it in Bengali. No, Bengali, I will give it in Gujarati. So there will be a fight. My language is greatest. Language war will start. In South India, somebody will say, I'll say it in Kannada, I'll say it in Tamil, I'll say it in Telugu. Somebody will say, the Germans will say, I'll say it in Dutch, I'll say it in French, the French will say Spanish. Or for favor. That means sorry in Spanish. It cannot be allowed. So you have to use this language. So they try to give it for Sanskrit also. There was a lobby in India, a right-wing led lobby, and they wanted all these names to be given in Sanskrit. Then it came out that there is still a village in Karnataka who speaks Sanskrit. So it can't be used. The Latin is totally a dead language, it is being used. And it's also a very mother language, so you have to have a Latinized name. So you have to provide a scientific name to organisms. Second is, you have to describe them. Giving them a name is not enough. You have to describe them. So all organisms which have been given the name Homo sapiens have to have la 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 these characters. You have to describe them. So this is also done by systematic. And the third is preserve collection of them. In a museum. So if you go to a museum, you will find organisms. So this stuffed dead organisms, you have to preserve collections. Collections can be any type. You must have a collection. The science of collecting also, museumology is also part of zoology. So how to preserve these organisms. So this also is a study. Okay. And then you have to have provide classification. So the first step of classification, what did you see? First is, okay, all organisms which have got mammary glands, hair over the bodies, blah blah blah, all these characters, they are order Mammalia. Then among the mammals, you have Theria, Eutheria, those who give prototherians, metatherians, and therians, or eutherians you can call. Those who give direct live birth outside, like babies. Or you have the metatherians, like the marsupial, kangaroos. The head comes out of the baby, but the body is developing inside, in the kangaroo spout. Or you have the monotremes, which are prototherians. They lay eggs, but they have mammary glands and they feed animals. They are little ones, platypus. So there are this, you have these exceptions. So, but they have hair, all the other characters. So like this you have broken. So now you come to class, after class Mammalia, you are coming down to therians, eutherians. Then you come down to order. So you have order Reptilia. You have, they are not reptiles, order Mammalia. Class Mammalia, order Carnivora, sorry. Order Carnivora. You come down again. So like this you have to provide a classification. Elimination. Carnivora, this is not carnivore, we are primates. They are carnivores, they are primates. See, provide classification. So they must provide a classification. Where do they stand in the animal kingdom? This subject will give. Nowadays, not only this is good enough. Okay, provide classification, they have to give keys for identification. They have to provide keys to identification. ঠিক আছে? And data on distribution. কোথায় পাওয়া যায়? Apart from that, next is they have to investigate evolutionary history. Just by calling you people Homo sapiens sapiens is not good enough. You have to have an evolution of history. You have to go ahead. Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, you have to go before that. Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Pithecanthropus, Australopithecus. You have to go on human evolution. So you have to even have the evolutionary history from fossil records wherever possible. This is also part of systematics. And environmental adaptation. That is, some people are adapted to arboreal life, some are adapted to fossorial life, some are adapted to cursorial life. কেউ জলে থাকে, কেউ ডাঙায় থাকে, কেউ আকাশে থাকে, some people fly in the sky, some people reside on trees, some are adapted, so you have to study the adaptation also. There are mammals which are adapted for flight, like bats. There are mammals which are adapted to live underwater, like whales and dolphins and whales, or the cetaceans. Some people are adapted to our ground, like us. So things are in this particular systematic. You also study this. In taxonomy, you only study the first 4 points. Only these are studied. The taxonomic definition is, taxonomy It provides scientific names to organisms, it describes them, it preserves collections of them, and provides classification keys to identification, data on distribution. That's all. Taxonomy ends. Taxonomy is formerly people used to call it taxonomy. You used to study taxonomy, but nowadays you have to investigate their evolutionary history and what is their environmental adaptation. So this is the difference between taxonomy and systematic. ठीक है? Now, organisms are classified on the basis of rank, or they are known as taxonomic rank. They are classified on the basis of taxonomic rank, and these are kingdom, phylum, class. Kingdom, these are all ranks, taxonomic ranks. Okay. They are sometimes also known as taxa. One step, kingdom, 7 ranks, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. So you can even break them as kingdom, subkingdom, phylum, subphylum, class, subclass, but that is later. The first classification is on the basis of your taxonomic, the 7 taxonomic ranks. Later today you think, okay, this has got a minor difference, we can't place them in the same place. What do তফাৎ আছে? You cannot place them. Let's put them into subclass. একটু ভাগ করে দিই. But that is done later. First it has to be a class. Class Mammalia. Okay. So let us look at a kingdom. একটা ভালো মানুষই দেখা যাক. What is kingdom? Animals, Animalia. Animalia or animals. ঠিক আছে? Animals. Then you have phylum. Chordata, very good. কে বললো নাম? জোরে জোরে. Why are they chordate? Because they have when they were embryo, they had a notochord. They had when they were in the mother's womb, they had a gill slit, or when even the adults in one stage of their life they had pharyngeal gill slit, they had notochord and tubular nerve cord, dorsal tubular nerve cord. They are chordate. Then class mammals, Mammalia. Because they have mammary glands, both males and females have mammary glands. They have hairs on their body, and everything is basically the same. So Mammalia. Then next comes order, primate. Why primate? Because they walk on 2 feet and improve cranial nerve. Then after they come to the family hominid. Hominida. That is straight, uniform, straight. Then you have Homo, and here you have to write Homo sapiens. Finally, you can go to subspecies, Homo sapiens sapiens, but there some 5,000 years back there was another species, subspecies, Homo sapiens neanderthals. So how modern biological system of classification says that one species is different from a species when it cannot mate with each other. For example, in primitive times, evidences have been found that Homo sapiens sapiens, or this modern man which we are, they were able to mix or mate with Homo sapiens neanderthals. Evidences were found. So they were kept under the same species, but the subspecies were different. The facial features were different. So when they cannot, among Drosophila you can find this very specifically. You have several subspecies of Drosophila, the fruit flies. You have Drosophila melanogaster, which is not the major species in India. It is Drosophila ananensis. In my studies in BHU, I studied a lot with Drosophila. Wild type was mostly, but you have melanogaster. But there are two species, Drosophila simulans and Drosophila melanogaster. They are two different species. Very difficult for them to breed. So we will talk about isolating mechanisms later. But first, this is how species, according to biological species concept by Ernst Mayr, two species are different when they cannot mate with each other. So reproductive isolation is the characteristic for two species. There are other ways. You have evolutionary classification, evolutionary species. You have lot of other things to do. So here we will perhaps end it today. I will tell you when the next class is. Okay. Currently, let the routine of the syllabus they come. We will talk about.